Well, Chargers fans, this season was a trip, wasn't it? How's it going, everybody? I am Jason of Jason's Realm here, and today I'm here bringing you guys my Los Angeles Chargers 2023 Postmortem. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the story of this franchise this season. So we're going to go ahead and start off our story here with the 2021 NFL head coaching cycle when Brandon Staley was hired away from the Los Angeles Rams as the head coach. This move was alright at the time. Brandon Staley's defense was a solid unit. Considering the pieces he had, it was a fairly solid unit. So, new head coach with a young quarterback. You got Justin Herbert in the fold. What can you do? You have a lot of talent on this roster, and you should be winning championships, right? You should be, 10-win seasons these first couple seasons. Should be solid with Brandon Staley, right? Well, with his first season with the Chargers, let's just say he kind of made a dumb move. They were 9-8 on the season, which isn't bad for your first season as a head coach, but you had a chance to send yourself and your division rivals, the Raiders, into the playoffs with a tie. Now, you were not looking like you were going to win that game. The Raiders were ready to take the tie, let both of you guys in the playoffs, and you would have been able to take it on as, what would have been, the 7th seed, I think, something like that. So you would have had to duke it out with either Kansas City, Buffalo, or Cincinnati. None of them were really amazing games to have at that time, but it's possible you pull something out somewhere along the line there and make some noise. But what do you do instead? You decide that it is a great idea to go ahead and say, you know what? Let's call a timeout. Let's be aggressive and make sure that we can secure the proper field or the proper defense here so that we can make sure we can go to the playoffs. After the Raiders were giving you a free ticket to the playoffs, which is very embarrassing for your team, and you honestly had to recover. You had to have a big 2022 because of that. What did you do? Well, in 2022, you guys did improve. You improved. You came in as the 5 seed in the playoffs at 10-7, ahead of the Jacksonville Jaguars by 1 win. The Jaguars were 9-8. You were 10-7, but the Jaguars won their division. So that would mean you would be going to Duval to take on the Jaguars, and you started off great. You started off amazing in that game. You had a big lead. I was there. We were streaming coverage of this game. And then you decided to let Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars have their way with you and absolutely make the biggest comeback I have witnessed in the playoffs, at least recently. So, another big failure under Brandon Staley's belt right there. That's number 2. That's strike 2. Keep that in mind. Now we move on to the 2023 current season. The Chargers have been consistently a 9-10 win team, so expectations were, maybe 10, 11 wins, be fighting for a playoff spot, I know you have the big bad Chiefs in your division, so somewhere between 9 and 11 wins, vying for a playoff spot, and you're safe, Brandon Staley. You are safe for another year. Even though your decisions the last 2 years were a little questionable, you're pretty safe. And then you decide this is going to be the year you're going to suck. Yeah, you started off the season here 1-2 with your lone win over the Vikings, falling to the Dolphins and the Titans. The Titans, we didn't know this at the time, but the Titans wouldn't be all that great. We thought they were going to be solid. So, the first 2 losses against the Dolphins and Titans, they were forgivable. We thought you were still a solid team, and, we thought you had something in the tank. Followed by a win over the Raiders, you're still looking good and staying competitive with the Cowboys. You were looking like a solid team at that point in the season. That was until you got blown out by the Chiefs. Yeah, you put up solid numbers against the Bears and Chargers, but once again, your defensive struggles showed when you played the Lions, letting the Lions beat you 41-38. And then you let the Packers beat you 23-20. You only put up 10 against the Ravens, and you only put up 6 against the Patriots. You really just fell off a cliff at the midway point in Brandon Staley's tenure this season. And really, I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised, but not surprised at the same time. Because Brandon Staley was a defensive-minded guy. So one would think his defense would, be better than his offense, but that just was not the case. Brandon Staley's defense was an absolute mess, and it was put on full display against the Broncos after putting up 6 against the Patriots and winning. You let up 24 to the Broncos and 63 points to the Raiders, who put up no points the week before. So I can't feel bad for Brandon Staley. Chargers fans, I know this year kind of sucks, but it also is a huge win for you guys because you got rid of Brandon Staley. You got rid of your vice. You are now free. You can go out and get a good head coach, and you can compete with this roster because this roster, as it's built, is built to be competing year in and year out. So as long as you can get a good coach and, maybe get a couple of smaller deal contracts done to be able to still compete, you'll be fine for years to come. So please, Spanos, Find a good head coach and you'll be fine.